careful. Oh, that's not going to work. We'll see you in a second. Why am I? Is the video up? Oh, the video is up. Yep. I'll be with you here in a second. I've decided to go ahead and put myself in the Discord room. I suppose people could actually ask me. People could actually ask me vocally if they wanted to. So I put myself in the Discord room. And what time do we have here? So we still got about 45 seconds before the start of the hour. So we give some folks some time to come in. It takes time for things to do things, people to do things and stuff like that. Can you all hear me okay? Oh, White Tiger, so you saw my announcement on Discord. Perfect. Great. Absolutely. How you doing, Stuart? How you guys doing today? Where is Pierre? Oh, Pierre. Well, forget about Pierre. He's behaving. We'll let him sit over here for a little bit. Hang in there, buddy. All righty. La 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 la. Hey, we have 8 o'clock. Have I tried Bacardi? You're talking about Bacardi as in Bacardi rum. Rum. I have not started a rum journey. I have tried some rums. But they tend to, I don't know, they tend to give me a little bit of a tummy ache when I drink rum. Oh, look at this. We have a bottle of Bacardi Gold here, made in Puerto Rico. Alrighty, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Les Waller International Scotch Whisky Advent Calendar of 2018. We are here live. And let me know, do you guys like it live better? So now, when I do an archive video, as you've seen from this month, if I do archive videos from 5 to 10 minutes long, very short, very sweet, very to the point. But when we do this live stuff, I mean, we've gone as much as 35 minutes. Which do you prefer, live or archives? Let me know in the comments below. I'd appreciate it. And while you're writing in the comments there, we will look at what's behind door number 14. Bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-dum. The question is, why are you doing it 1 hour later and you prefer live stream? The reason I'm doing it an hour later is I had a honeydew to do. I had to stop at the grocery store after work. And I knew that by stopping in the grocery store and eating dinner, I wouldn't make 7 o'clock. And I was correct. I would have not had time. Plus, I had to finish typing up the article that's on www.leswaller.com that talks about the distillery and the whiskey that we're going to look at tonight. And what is that? Glenfiddich, 15-year-old Solera single malt Scotch whiskey, 40% ABV. Of course, you saw the picture on the thumbnail. Watch this. Hesto, presto. Oh, look, it's already poured. I'm very fast. Let's see you do that. Live. All right. Because I am doing write-ups on each of these whiskeys, it's not a surprise to me when I'm opening the box, because I've already opened it to take pictures of all these to begin with. But two, then I have to do the research to write the article. So this is a 15-year-old, and I've mentioned in one of my earlier whiskey that I talked about, if it's a 15-year-old whiskey, it should set out and breathe for 15 minutes. Well, right now it's been out for about 8 or 9 minutes. No, so 40% should be perfect. Matter of fact, So this is what we're going to try tonight, the 15-year-old Solera Glenfiddich. Pierre, can you move over here for a second? Thank you. So you'll see here, I've got a Glenfiddich 18-year-old, and you can see by how much is in the bottle that this is not too bad. This is a nice sherry Oloroso cask finished whiskey, so it's got a fruity flavor to it. And so what I've also done then, since that's an 18-year-old, is I've poured a glass of that over here, so we can have a little bit of a comparison, aroma and flavor tasting as well. So let's put our nose to the task. Oh yeah, you can get the Oloroso sherry aroma off the top. That's with the 15-year-old Solera. So the Solera, why it's called Solera is they've got what's called a Solera vat. And they have, this vat they've been putting whiskeys in this vat since 1998. And it is always at least half full. So that's an interesting mix of whiskeys here. All right, so here is the Glenfiddich 18-year-old. So with this one, you get the Oloroso sherry, but I'm actually getting more of the oak aroma from the oak cask as well. Now, I don't know if that's because it's been sitting and had time to oxidize for several months or not. So I would say definitely for aroma between these two, then that this one has got the better aroma. Oh, let me get a glass of water. I need to clear my palate between whiskeys. Let me be right back and get a glass of water real quick. I apologize for the intermission there. That's very unprofessional. All right. Let's taste it. Took a little bit of a big swallow there, so I wanted to really work it and give it some time. Yeah, White Tiger. Yeah, wow. So, yeah. So, I would say that I've had a little fruitier sherry casked whiskeys. It's not bad. Not bad. Let me see if I can take a little bit smaller of a swallow this time. Yeah, it's a little bit sweet on the front of the tongue. It's nice and smooth. So when I mean smooth, I guess it's kind of like, what would you call it? It's kind of like, like a thin syrup, kind of a feel on the tongue. Not bad. Now, let's compare it with the 18-year-old. Yeah, smooth and sweet. Yeah, it seems nice. Now, bear in mind, it took me yeah, so White Tiger. So what they do is when they of course it's malted, it's fermented, it's distilled, and then after it's been distilled, they will literally put it in a wooden cask for 15 years. It's aged for 15 years. And then they bottle it. And once it's bottled, it doesn't age once it's bottled. The aging is only done and only can be done while it's in these oak casks. And what happens is the whiskey, the cask breathe, because it's just nature of wood. The cask breathes, so the whiskey goes into the wood and out of the wood, into the wood and out of the wood. So some casks, so regular whiskey, which I don't have. I don't have regular whiskey. Regular whiskey is just matured in an oak cask, so you might have some oak flavor to it. But with these whiskeys on this shelf, they will use sherry wine or port wine casks. So these casks were used to age wine originally, and then they're brought to the distillery and they put whiskey in these empty wine casks, and it pulls out. So that's why when this is like an Oloroso, tell about the sherry part, it pulls out that sherry flavor and aroma from the cask itself. Yeah, I don't know about them expiring. So, I mean, the flavor changes a little bit because of the being exposed to oxygen. But if it's corked correctly or whatever, and it's been unopened, I mean, literally you could keep it for years. Yeah. And because of the high alcohol percentage, nothing's going to really affect it. All right, so let's try the 18-year-old Glenfiddich 18-year-old. This is a small batch reserve. So it's slightly thinner, less sherry flavor, more oak flavor. So, okay, let me clear my palate again. What's the worst whiskey I've had? Yes. Yeah, so yeah, some of these whiskeys are older than you guys, huh? And I probably bought this in 2017, so I don't think it's going to have the year that it was actually distilled on the bottle. It gives the batch number, so I suppose there's probably a way of looking up the batch number to see when this was actually distilled and bottled. But I don't have it on the bottle. Some of them will. So some of these samples and stuff have had that. They're a certain year vintage and stuff like that. Okay, so where were we? Oh, clear the palate again. What's the worst whiskey I've had? Oh. I'd probably have to watch my whiskey reviews from 2016 and 2017. I'm sure that there's one in there that I was like, ugh. I think when they try and make they've tried to, some of them try to do experimenting, and I think there was an IPA whiskey, and it's like I'm thinking, I don't remember, maybe that would have been the worst. All right, let's get back to the 15-year-old Oloroso. I mean Solera, actually Solera, the Solera version. Um, so White Tiger, before I answer that question, um, I think that the Glenfiddich 15-year-old Solera will replace the Glenfiddich 18-year-old Batch Reserve. I like the more sherry flavored whiskey as opposed to the more of the oak flavored whiskey. So I think that we have a winner here for my fruity whiskeys. And what's the best whiskey I've had so far? I still say my favorite is the Lagavulin 16-year-old is my favorite. And I'm someone asked in one of my videos earlier about what is my top shelf. So I'm going to do a video for 2018. I don't know, Les Waller's top 5 Scotch whiskeys for 2018. Yeah, winter at last. Now, and you were asking how long they last, right? So literally, and you can get some whiskey glasses that have a glass top. If I wanted to, with this Scotch here, because I'll drink this later. If I wanted to, I could put a glass top on this and just put it on my shelf. It's not going to change in a character or flavor or aroma, even though I've poured it out of the bottle into the glass. And of course, you put it in a plastic glass or something like that, that's a whole different story. But and the other thing that's nice about these is you're drinking them at room temperature. So I don't have to worry about keeping it cold. I don't have to worry about heating it up. I mean, I can literally spend an hour drinking this. It's not going to change its character very much at all. Whereas a beer, if you have a cold beer, while a cold beer gets warm, it's, depending on the beer, it's not as good. So you want to finish it while it's cold, and then you go get another beer, right? But I can spend an hour on a glass of Scotch, and it doesn't change its character. I enjoy it as much from the first sip to the last sip, and that's one of the things I like about Scotch too. Wintertime, I like Scotch because I don't like drinking something cold when I'm cold, and this is not cold. It's room temperature, and it kind of heats you up because of the higher alcohol percentage too. And that I can understand, White Tiger. I started my whiskey journey in, 2015, I think. When I grew up, it was mixed strengths, or Americans, you one-shotted it. But then whiskeys didn't have to me, personally, American whiskeys, a lot of them, they don't have any flavor. It's just, oh, this is whiskey. Smells like whiskey, tastes like whiskey. Okay, we're done. Yeah, it was water or Coke. Well, but and that's, to me, that's what makes Scotch special. I mean, there are Scotch that don't have very much flavor. Or as an example here, yeah, okay. As an example here is a Chivas. So this is a Chivas 18-year-old, which is a little bit more expensive. But here's a Chivas 12-year-old. A lot of people will have a Chivas and Coke. They'll mix. It's a blended whiskey, which means it comes from several different distilleries. But they'll blend a whiskey and a Coke, or they'll have whiskey and water. But as I've gotten older, I've gotten to the point where I want to find a whiskey that I can enjoy. I mean, literally, not fake enjoy, but literally enjoy without water, without ice. And let me tell you, that's pretty much what's on my shelves. I don't put water in these. And as you've seen from my drinking it here. I take my time, I get the flavor out of it, and I enjoy it. And that's just, you could call me a whiskey snob if you want. That's what I've become. But if people enjoy it with water or ice or whatever, I mean, that's fine too. Everyone has their own personal preferences. When I went home to our daughter's wedding this year, and this is future stuff down the road that I'll taste online. Chicago, there's a distillery in Chicago, and they gave me a present of 3 types of whiskey that the distillery in Chicago produces: a 4-grain, a bourbon, and a rye. So those will be coming down the road. And I've got a whole bunch of other samples and stuff like that I want to try as well. Do I prefer younger or older whiskey? Both. Pierre, can you move over here for a second, please? So this one is a no age statement whiskey, which means it can have whiskeys as young as 3 years old. Excellent whiskey, very low cost. You can get this for under €30. And so the rest of these are all age. So this is a 12-year-old, 12-year-old, 15-year-old, and a 16-year-old. Down here we got an 18-year-old, 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 a 15-year-old, and a no age statement. So it depends. But from what I found, I would almost say like 15, 13, 15, 12, 15 years. It seems like the sweet spot for me right now. Because, of course, the older the whiskey is, the more it's going to pull that wood flavor into it. I believe, anyway, the more wood flavor it's going to bring into it. And that's not a bad thing. It's just another one of those things that you can acquire a taste for. You're like, you're first like, oh, that tastes like wood. Have ever bought gift cards for World of Tanks? I have not. The oldest whiskey I've seen, the oldest whiskey I've actually tried is a 50-year-old, 50-year-old. You want to try to buy and see if it works. Where do they, I mean, do they sell them on the premium site, or is it on the forum, or where do they sell World of Tanks cards? Yeah, 50. Matter of fact, if I remember right, we may have thrown it out though. I think it's like one of the first ones we had this year was a 50-year-old. Yeah, yeah, old and usually expensive. For a 50-year-old, you're gonna pay minimum several $100s or several €100, and you could pay up to several. You could pay up to several $1,000, $20,000 for a 50-year-old. And to me, I've had a couple 50-year-olds. They're not that good to me. We'll put the bottle there. We'll put the bottle there as a reminder that we need to find the Solera 15-year-old to replace the Glenfiddich 18-year-old. Yeah, I think for that price range, I think that is for either the whiskey nuts or very rich people who just want to, hey, let me share my $10,000 bottle of scotch with you, young man. I'd rather share these. I can go to the store and replace them tomorrow. Oh, boy. Probably. There's some truth to that. If you maybe do a search on my YouTube channel here for 50-year-old, because I'm pretty sure that the 2016 and 2017, there's at least one bottle of a 50-year-old scotch in there. Not impressed. Not for, especially for the price. Oh my God. Like I say, you can get this one for under €30. It's a no age statement whiskey, and it's got a nice smoky flavor to it. It's smooth. It's widely available. I mean, that's yeah. And actually, I found out, you know, Amazon.de, Amazon Germany, I can actually order scotch from Amazon.de and have it delivered to my house. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. Yeah, to me, it's you know, but that's like Johnny Walker Blue Label. You're going to pay a couple $100 for a Johnny Walker Blue Label. It's a blended scotch. I've tried it. I've got a small bottle in Chicago. I picked it up at the airport on the way to Chicago last time, and it doesn't compare to what I can get for less than $100. Why would I pay 2 times the amount for something that does not taste 2 times better? You know. But it's a status. It's one of those status whiskeys. So, here's what you do. You buy a bottle of $30 scotch. Oh, maybe we'll do that. Oh, actually, I'm going to use this to mix my whiskeys later on. You put it in a very nice crystal decanter, whiskey decanter. You put it in here, and you serve it out of this. No one's going to question the price of the scotch in here. They'll just know it tastes good. Ah, Johnny Walker Double Black Label. Yeah, I see that's available. And maybe I have to do like a sampling of all the Johnny Walker labels. But the problem is, if you just buy a big bottle, you're spending a lot of money just to take a sample. So I maybe masterofmalt.com is pretty good for me because you can order samples about just about any whiskey that they have. You can order samples, and that they're more expensive than what you would buy if you bought it in volume. But it allows you to have a small amount, drink it, and not have to have, you know, this scotch on my shelf is going to last me months, if not several years. Well, as soon as we finish with this stream, like a 2-shot bottle. Well, most of the time they're usually like a 1-shot bottle, like a 3 centiliter bottle. All these samples are 3 centiliters, which is about a dram. So it's like a single sample, but it's a good size sample. So you guys ready to move over to World of Tanks Blitz? Is that what you're telling me? Isn't Igor something? All right, so we're at 30 minutes. I think it's probably a good time to there might be a quiz on that on the 24th. There might be a quiz about how many different glasses was Igor sitting in throughout the Advent calendar. But you know, Waller Dog's kind of slick like that. I do. Everything has a purpose. But anyway, let's go ahead and close this up. I really appreciate you all for coming and supporting the stream tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. Tomorrow is Saturday. So if we want to do this live tomorrow, so we're going traveling tomorrow. So maybe that's what I'll have to do anyway, is do a live stream tomorrow for day number, what's today? So day number 15. Let me take a quick preview. I don't know. Not familiar with it. We'll see. We'll have to see what it is tomorrow. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again. Don't forget, you can look at a little bit more information about the Glenfiddich Distillery on my website, www.leswaller.com. And we will see you tomorrow. But remember, you always get more with less. Thanks for watching, folks.